because President Hudson and myself have to go to leadership, and I wanted to sort of like make sure we concentrate on this being a tax exemption agreement. I wanted to have a public meeting on this about three different projects that we were going to talk about, and I think we'll start off. I got Commissioner OJ here and Commissioner Collins, and I'm joined by President Hudson and Councilor Paniagua and Councilor Nave. So let's get started with the first one. 52 is the Southside Renaissance housing, and if you can just elaborate on how far they're along as far as what you're aware of as far as the project goes, and maybe Commissioner Collins, if you can chime in on things that don't involve the tax exemption, the shelter tax agreement.
Yeah, grateful to have Commissioner Collins here. Matt OJ, Commissioner of Assessment. We've been working with Charlene and group, well, since before I was doing the work. I think Commissioner Clifford picked this up and handed this to me in 2021, working through various iterations of this, several properties on both sides of the 15 and 1600 blocks of South Avenue. Good mixed-use project with commercial downstairs, residential up. I think this is, in some ways, creating some synergies with existing city policies and investments in the South Avenue corridor, future bus rapid transit corridor, neighborhood starved for quality housing, certainly for affordable housing. Right now, we're wholly supportive of this. Development team has been working through this, trying to get it to the point of economic viability.
So this is, Commissioner, not to interrupt you, but This is the St. Nick's Alliance?
And yes, that is, I think, something they've worked hard to get to.
And I think as we well know, they've done many projects, especially downstate.
St. Nick's on the development, I mean, they started off a small entity in Brooklyn, but on the development side, they have developed a lot of housing down there, and they currently manage, I want to say, close to 3,000 units in the tri-state area. They are established. They've got a really good track record from a management perspective, and it seems like they've been good partners to Charlene so far as well.
Okay, so this will be 75 units. I know that this was, they originally went to, not with St. Nick's, but they originally went and were in the LIHTC line, basically, and they just didn't have the application all together in order to
That's my recollection. And I think Michael can speak.
Credits.
This is their third crack, I think, at HCR.
So depends on how you look at it. They 2 years ago they submitted but did not have an application that was considered because of missing the deadline for submission. So last year was their first technically true submission, which got them a review. And that was prior to St. Nick's Alliance joining. Since St. Nick's has joined, it's become much stronger. This is one of those instances where we've got a local developer, and as we all have administration, council, and have been in agreement that as we grow as a city, we want the money that's generated here to stay here, and development's a really hard thing to do. So the fact that we've got a local developer who's now partnered with somebody that knows what they're doing, we think third time could really be the right time for them with HCR.
So is the original capital that more or less will be coming from St. Nick's, you think?
I'm sorry, say that again.
I said, as far as the capital to build the buildings needed to do the project properly, most of the capital is coming from the St. Nick's people, you think?
Well, there's always private equity from the developer in there, but no, the majority of the funding will be the low-income housing tax credit. Okay. That's always got to be over 50%, and then there'll be other permanent lending sources that'll be in there. We're expecting that they will apply to us for some funding as well. And then there is absolutely the capital from the private side, from the developer.
So have they submitted their application?
The submissions are due tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering so tomorrow we'll know if they're submitting their application.
Yeah, so but considering to Commissioner OJ's point, considering who they've partnered with, I'd be surprised if they don't have a solid application in tomorrow.
Okay, and we've done our usual talks with the state regarding it and all that, right?
Every 2 weeks.
And I think
yeah.
the council, we sent a letter championing this
Yes, we did.
project too,
Yes.
so, and the mayor did, obviously.
Yes, yep.
Okay. Are there any questions from my
No, I just
colleagues?
know that St. Nick's, they're downstate, and they are good management of the properties that they have control over as well.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Okay. I appreciate everybody's work on this project, and, you know, as we say, we're in favor of the concept, and hopefully they'll be able to get through the process where they'll be able to get the, you know, secure those low-income tax credits, so,
Agreed.
okay, and,
Not, quick
Go on.
question. So the letter we submitted, that's gonna suffice?
So, our understanding from the Homes and Community Renewal is that with the letter that you're providing, the letter that the mayor's providing, and then the letter that's coming specifically from Commissioner OJ related to this item that's in front of us, that it is clear, that makes it very clear to the Housing Finance Agency that the city fully intends to do exactly what we're talking about.
good, thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Commissioner, and now we'll segue to 53.
Super excited about this one, as I
Me too.
sometimes am about some things.
Why
Keenan.
don't you give it a little, so the
So yes,
public-
okay, this is 680 South Avenue, west side of the street, directly across from the Price Right Supermarket. This is a site that I believe is in the flood zone. This is 51 units, above structured parking, designed around the topography of the site, but really complementing, again, not only the BRT corridor, but the fact that we have this public-private investment directly across the street, a real neighborhood asset in the form of a full-service supermarket, close to downtown, close to JMA, and other jobs in that South Salina corridor. Keenan is a really sophisticated developer who I think knows what he's doing. This is going to be built, I believe, to passive house standards. It seems like a home run of a project from our perspective, and we're eager to support it.
So this is a change too, right, from their original application?
Trinity, I believe, was the
Was the
initial
first.
applicant, if I'm not mistaken. Keenan ultimately went out on his own and has stuck with this project.
Oh, good. And
Yeah,
so,
it's exactly that, right? To Commissioner OJ's point, the floodplain complicates this significantly. No one wants to build in a floodplain because it's extra money, it's extra work, you've got more hurdles to jump through, so it takes more time. And one of the massive problems that we have along the south side, and President, you and I have had many conversations around this, is the property values are so suppressed right there. So this has got every amenity. You're across the street from the grocery store. You're on the bus line straight to downtown. But also it has the ability to then have a positive development impact on the properties around it. Mm-hmm. This is the type of project that there's not a lot of developers that could take it on or would take it on. Trinity is 35-year-old development company that's done a lot of good work. So the fact that Kenan was working there for a long time and knew how to take this project with him, clearly he knows exactly what he's
And
doing.
actually, he has the full support of Trinity, which is also behind it. So.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is one of those rare moments where you kind of get your eyes get a little big about the fact that someone wants to do this project that ticks all the boxes. So excited.
I want to ask you this, Michael, because my thought process is both these projects, they're going to lift that community.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
And it's going to bring the property values because the property values in that area are really on the low end.
Exactly.
So with these properties, it's going to lift the property
Yeah.
value.
Yeah. Again, just really excited about what's
And
possible.
not to
with this one.
mention, offers our community members a new, safe way place to live. So it's great.
I'm just thinking about living across the street from a grocery store. I have enough trouble keeping my weight under control as it is. Just
Elevates
how
the quality of
wonderfully
life,
convenient, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, just creating a new neighborhood, or bringing that neighborhood back to what it was like when I used to walk downtown on Southside.
Exactly. Exactly.
So-
It's everybody that's stayed, everybody that's chosen that as their neighborhood, they
Right.
deserve this.
Right. So,
Constituting a neighborhood, providing the opportunity for people to really age in place, as it were, there. But also, to Commissioner Collins' point, I don't think we can emphasize this enough. Doing what we do, that's either a vacant lot or it's this. This is what the private finance housing law is designed to incent.
Yesterday.
Nobody's building in a flood zone. We've got no shortage of flood zones around town. So when someone wants to do this, we're going to do everything we can to make it work financially.
And an important aspect of the HCR application is the assets that are around the project, and they're full of it.
Yes.
You know, they have the Jubilee Park, they have 2 restaurants, one coming up, and the supermarket.
Good
so
sale,
it's
good sale.
Yeah, it's
you
great.
good sale.
so where are we with the light? I'm not sure if I should address this to Councilor Paniagua or you. Where are they with the light tech application?
With the application, yeah, they fully intend to submit by tomorrow's deadline.
So we got 2 going in.
So we expect that there will be a total of 3 going in.
And that's the La Liga one?
Correct.
Because I'm a little surprised that, I'm not surprised at the La Liga one, but they finally gotten everything together as far as that goes, because I would have included this in the announcement of this meeting if I knew that they were all ready to go to.
Scattered site's challenging. We only brought this back to amend the initial ordinance because there have been re-subdivisions involving the subject properties since we initially brought it to you. Some of the addresses in the SPLs are different. So broad strokes, same project, strong project, neighborhood in desperate need.
Right, no doubt about it. And so they're going to be all submitted too. Right? So they're in essence in competition with each other too.
They are. There's also, we talked a minute ago about the complex nature of the financing for these projects.
Right.
So there are times in which a project is submitted where during the decision process for the Housing Finance Agency, there are other expected awards that are built into the pro forma that decisions are made on, and that will influence what projects move up, move down from a scoring standpoint. Because if it's, if you're expecting something and you get it, you're moving up. If you're not, it depends on the size of the hole that leaves. And if the underwriter believes that, yeah, you can make it up someplace else, and still be able to, perform, service the debt, and maintain the property to a high standard, then you got a chance to move through. If not, then it'll probably wait until the next year when the developer has a chance to either try for that other funding again or find a different way to plug that hole. But that's generally the way it works.
La Liga will be a 2% increase, just like the other ones?
No. We only instituted this after Finance Chair Williams decided that this was an important thing to pursue. We haven't felt it necessarily ethical to go back and ask for those terms to be negotiated. Okay. So all the legacy deals are the same, flat, over 15 years.
Except for this one.
These 2 new...
the 2 new ones are...
Southside Renaissance, I'll have to double check that letter. Did I say 2% in the letter?
Well, yeah.
If it's 2% in the letter, then we've negotiated 2%.
Okay. So
and with BLD, it's certainly 2%.
And then the other one isn't.
And that's going to be our MO going forward.
Okay. Well, we've done all the work. Come on, Counselor.
I had a question. So is this housing open to anyone? There's no restriction on income?
Oh, all income restrict. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's going to, so each project is going to present a little bit differently. You have to, all 3 of these projects are restricted income projects. They'll go up to about 80% AMI for some of them. There's 2 regulating factors in where that caps out. The one is the developer needs to provide a market study that shows the current rents within the proposed development area. And then the Housing Finance Agency needs to, they stick to that, because what they need to do is make sure that you're not predicting that you're going to get more rent to make the operating budget work than you're actually going to be able to get based on the market. The second, because the most conservative partner in this is the investor. The investor, they're the ones that are purchasing the bonds and need to make sure that they're going to get paid back. So those are really our 2 limiting factors. But we've got income averaging in place on the one that Ken and Bigby's doing. Off the top of my head, I'll go back and take a look. I don't recall if we've got income averaging going with Charlene Tarver's project.
I believe we do, but
We
it's
do.
worth double checking.
Okay, yeah, and so what that does is New York State will say you need to average out here, but this way you've got the range, so we can bring some of the higher income in, and we can help some of those people that are really stuck at a lower income.
There's no government is there government oversight?
So they will have to certify the income of every resident every year.
And who, is it going to be a private entity?
So, what happens is, and Commissioner OJ can speak to that better, but they do have to form a private entity within definitions that are provided by the Housing Finance Agency.
So are we looking at all one level, or is there multiple levels?
Physical level or level of income?
Levels, no, I mean, of the apartments, though, is it all one level?
Each of these is a 4-story building.
Okay, it's 4 stories. So I assume also there'll be like a courtyard, maybe a community room?
I know that Charlene's project has a lot of community space. BLD's, I believe, does have some kind of amenitized space
In
on
the first
ground
floor, there's 25 square feet, 2,500 square
La
feet.
the La Liga project's scattered site.
That scattered site, I believe the South Geddes property, if I'm not mistaken, does have some community space on the ground
Yeah.
floor
Yeah,
of the building, too.
it
It
does.
does.
Those are always challenging spaces because you build them out and they continue to cost you. They generate no revenue. And when your revenue generation is capped by the housing finance laws around, hey, you can only charge so much because of the income level that you're renting to, it is difficult to build that in.
You want to keep our prices low, so assume there may be an elevator or a ramp.
Each of these will have an elevator.
Okay.
Yeah, and to that point, it's very difficult to reconcile, I think, what we want out of a community, our community, and neighborhoods versus what will cash flow. So to this point, we need mixed use. Mixed use might not fill up for 10 years, and we see this on South Salina Street, we see this on North Townsend Street. And this is why I hope we take a pretty liberal and merciful view of these projects when we bring them before you, that they do need this assistance to move forward with what we want, because what we want is not necessarily viable.
Yes, that's being flexible and nimble, which I like.
We're flexible and
Words
nimble.
that government doesn't always exercise
We try.
sometimes. Speaking of that, obviously, with the La Liga project, originally they had a partner when they first did this.
Acacia, they still do. Acacia has done a
Acacia-
lot of downstate development.
Okay, so Ocasio's part of this La Liga West Side Village LLC?
So La Liga rolled in under the Acacia umbrella maybe 7-8 years ago. And so they've been operating as an Acacia entity, maintaining their own identity, their own board. And one of the things that Acacia does very specifically is develop affordable housing, and they've got a history of doing it downstate, and they've been successful.
So what I'm going to ask both of you, maybe you, Commissioner, to let the council know when, if they, all three of them submits. to-
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
just let us know.
Yep.
But
Yeah, by regulations, each applicant needs to transmit a letter to the mayor's office that outlines their application, and so we'll make sure to share it with you.
excellent,
It would happen after the application is submitted.
good, excellent. Well, we hope all three of these projects are awarded the LIHTC money, and I appreciate your efforts. And I'm going to skip back to 51, because this is your department. 51 is.
It is.
And that's the Johnson Vocational Center. I think President Hudson was on the RFP along with me. The RFP process was that during COVID? I can't remember.
No, it seems like ages ago, but it's
Yeah,
not
it
that
seems
many
like-
ages ago.
Yeah, COVID seems like sort of ages ago.
Time is flat lately.
Maybe it's because we were on Zoom or whatever we were on.
I think
Maybe
we were, yeah.
Okay.
This was last October, I believe, that the RFP
Right.
committee convened. For background, we and Purchase and NBD put out 6 different RFPs for school district properties in spring of '24. Shall I go down them, or will that be way too far down the rabbit hole for us?
Well, okay, we got some time, so maybe
We got
we'll
some
go-
time,
We'll
cool.
go a little
I got some
way.
breath.
We'll walk halfway, maybe.
Okay, so for the former H.W. Smith Vocational Tech at 200 Park Avenue, we put out a get rid of the building RFP and a relocate existing skilled trades maintenance operations RFP. For 725 Harrison, the central offices put out the same thing. Move into Class A office space for the folks who work there, leverage the building. Same thing for the Johnson Vocational Center. We got no takers to relocate the operations. We got several takers to do something different with a pretty large, well-located property, 33,000 square feet of land with a 50,000 square foot former automotive building on it. I think, were pretty explicit in the RFP that we wanted to see housing. We wanted to see something that would provide a sustainable bump to the tax roll and something that would make it worth the city's financial while in the short term, too, to part with an asset. As you both probably recall, we got a couple of good responses, but we decided to advance the most viable one, which involved 138 units of housing, mixed income housing, above a podium that would contain some parking and some commercial space. It would allow the city to retain control of the asset, which is something that we're always favorably disposed to do, and it would pay us, fairly good consideration for long-term use of our asset. As we really began to advance in negotiations through this past spring and summer, we received internal guidance that it would be wise to get the property appraised, which I think represents some alignment between the executive and the council here. I know I've been up here in the past, and you've requested that I come with a little more data in the form of an appraisal, so that's what we'd like to do here. Simply, I think, to buttress our data point, that is, we had responses to the RFP that demonstrate some bracketing of the value of our asset. We'd like an independent third party to come in and tell us just how close to accurate that is.
Okay. Remind me of the price.
This was going to be a 65-year ground lease for consideration of $1,025,000.
Okay. Now, unbeknownst to me, and maybe, I don't know, maybe somebody else caught, but part of the property, if they redevelop this property, part of the property belongs to a property owner right adjacent to them, right? The wall?
No.
It doesn't.
There is a party wall.
What's that?
The west wall of the Johnson Center and the east wall of the building whose address I don't know directly to the west. They have a party wall, which is on the property line.
Is that what it's called, a party wall?
Party wall.
P-A-R-T-Y?
P-A-R-T-Y. It's always a party when we invite me up
Something
here.
Corey made up back there in the back row, or what?
She's always
It's a
there for the party.
So meaning two parties on the same wall.
Oh boy, we could get into some distinctions on this one.
So how's this going to work? If there's some
We
property
negotiate.
interest in the other wall, in one of the walls.
Well, simply in the demolition of this building and in the demolition of the existing Johnson Center and the construction of a new building,
Right.
we negotiated an agreement not to disturb their property. And you can see this in
Has that been done?
We have not advanced that far in the negotiations yet, but that will be done.
'Cause
You
there's
can see this in
significant-
every attached row building around town. Everything right here in the 200 block of East Water Street, South Salina. This is not unusual in the least in urban development.
I'm
I'm
sort
not
of
gonna
been
be out there
around
with
a
the
little while.
sledgehammer,
This
but-
is sort of not something new to me.
Well, we don't do a ton of these with the city, but in the development community, this is far from unusual.
Right, but I'm talking, there is in that location, there's some significant, there's a paucity of parking in that area too. And it's all owned by the guy who owns part of that wall.
I not agree with that characterization at all.
You think
We
there's
have
park-
way too much surface parking in this, especially east
In
end
that
of
general-
downtown.
In that general area? I was through there this morning.
That is my perception. I think it'll be tightening up in coming months and years.
Yeah. Well, I think this will all be part of a discussion that when we finally decide to sell this building, correct?
I think that's wise. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think it is, too.
all the pieces matter. You develop surface parking lots, demand stays flat, supply goes down.
I'm not
Obviously, that
favor-
affects.
I'm not totally in favor of surface parking lots, but we're building a development where a certain number of people are going to, unless they all use the trolley, which we don't have anymore, they're going to need.
Well, I
You
mean,
know,
this is the thing, though. You build density in the 500 block of East Genesee Street. This is walkable within a 15-minute walk shed
You're
to darn
absolutely
near
right.
everything you want, including the price right in the 600 block of South Avenue.
Well, we're going to have to, obviously have, make some sort of accommodations for parking there.
I
mean,
do believe there will be
whoever
some
runs
on-site
this
parking.
property.
Yeah, and off the top of my head, I don't remember how many spots they intend to provide, but some. It's MX5, I think. Eric, is that a crazy thing to say? We're MX5 in the 500 block of East Genesee, so there's no parking required, but they are intending to provide some few dozen parking spaces.
Yeah, well, rezone went through this body, and I was in favor of that,
Oh,
the
yeah.
parking is attached.
great.
So anyway, well, I just wanted to bring that up because I'm in favor of the appraisal. That's a good move, and we'll go from there as far as when we get to the point where if we decide to sell the properties.
Yes, we very, very much intend to have legislation requested before you this coming quarter. We want to move this forward. The development partner wants to move this forward, and we need 138 units of housing, right, yesterday.
Yeah, the developers, where's the developer out of? California?
Penrose is a national developer. They're partnering with Hanover Ventures, who's a local developer who
Hanover
we've dealt with.
is a local
Yeah,
outfit, yeah.
yeah. So we are
Hanover's the same, is that the same outfit that owns the S&K building?
they are in contract on that. Yes.
Oh, when that came up this morning, we were talking about the S&K building. Was their pilot agreement obviously doesn't begin until they actually start construction, correct?
I don't believe they have been through the CIDA process on that, and
They haven't
either
been through the CIDA process?
I think they are working toward that. But to answer the
They're
question,
paying taxes now?
oh no, they're still in contract. We still own the building. We are paying ourselves some small bit of taxes because of the commercial use on the ground floor. The upper 6 floors are vacant.
So, okay, I got
Sorry.
mixed up because there was a big press conference and all that. So we haven't
Yes.
actually sold that building or we haven't handed over the building to
Common
them?
Council authorized local law, I'm blanking out, local law in late '23 to convey. We went into contract in, I believe, March '24. Have amended it once to extend due diligence, but they are very close on their financing. And I do believe we'll be closing this thing sooner than
So
later.
until they accept the building, they get their financing, that's when they go back on the tax rolls for a little time until they get a pilot agreement.
We'll send
in
them an
order
omitted
to-
tax bill the week they close, yeah.
Okay. Weeks they close. So in other words, they owe, wait, okay, let's go back.
when they close on the
They owe taxes now or
No,
what?
we are still fee owners of the building.
Oh, we are the owners.
We have a little bit of tax liability because,
Are we maintaining the building as much as we possibly can?
yeah, it's in pretty good shape.
It is?
Well, it needs new windows
Nobody's
and
in
new
there. What do you
masonry
mean?
and new.
How would you know?
I keep eyes on our properties.
See,
I also happen to patronize the barber on the ground floor.
So
I
Counselor Hogan, I
spend some time there.
remember when that was Bardine's back in the day. Remember?
Part of what?
Remember Bardine's? Store that was right there?
Yes.
School supplies?
Let's see.
Showing our
I
age
think I
again.
take a trip back through history. Counselor Nave's,
I love a trip through history, but my history didn't begin
Okay.
in that era.
so please keep us aware of when, so we've already, the council's already approved the sale. We're just waiting to hand it over.
Yeah,
Once we hand it over, that they still have to go through the CIDA process in order to get the pilot agreement. They actually have to, I think, I don't know if Eric wants to chime in here, but I think they have to don't they have to begin some sort of construction in order?
Thanks, Counselor. Yeah, I was only going to come up if necessary here. Eric Ennis, Neighborhood and Business Development. So the project team has been working on the financing that Matt referenced. There's a number of grants that have been awarded to the project as well in order to proceed. And then they are preparing their submission to CIDA for abatements as well as pilot structure. So we have not gotten that final application, and so we still need to go through that formal process. But their intention, they've shared their intention would be to come before the
Why
IDA.
wouldn't they go through CIDA and just get it all prepared now?
A big piece of it is that we want to identify what the financing structure is, because that immediately, for example, a mortgage recording tax,
Yeah.
that's one of the things you need to understand. What is the value of the
So they
mortgage
have-
to
that's-
determine the value? So some of that information they're working through right now with different lenders and the grants, and then they'll have a complete application that then CIDA could review.
Okay, yeah, obviously, because not so they can't get that, access that until they actually get somebody who's going to back the project, right?
Sure. Yep. But they've had a design professional, engineer, all working on the the building plans, and then at the same time, they're actively working with lenders. It's just what we want to do is when the IDA receives the application, we want to have those things buttoned up.
It's going to be a mixed income.
Correct.
Building.
Yep. And then commercial space on the ground floor as well.
It's not going to be a LIHTC building, obviously.
They're working through a number of different sources, but the intention has always been mixed income with that project.
So when we issued the RFP for this, one of the things that was really important all the way around, and Councilor Hudson, you weighed in strongly on this as well. I recall the fact that this would be a true mixed income project. Because of the physical size of the building, that and what our current market is, that makes it really challenging to put together the finance structure. So while for us it feels like this has been a little bit of time, this is a typical amount of time for the fact that they've been under contract for 18 months for us to be able to move, for a developer to be able to move through a really complex project. They absolutely do not intend to go with a LIHTC project, because to do so, they would have two challenges. One is the fact that the number of units in the project would probably not fully pencil out. The other is that the first floor does not translate well to apartments, because you don't have any setbacks, right? The right of way, the sidewalk comes right up to the windows, and that's just not an appropriate place to have an apartment as per our zoning. So every other response that we got to the RFP wanted to do it as a fully affordable project. And this is going to be, in the end, probably a similar timeline to what we see for these types of projects.
And because of the zoning passed by this council, there'll be affordable units in that building.
So this, when we say mixed income, so first of all, yes, but it would be a larger mix than what's required by zoning. And that does mean that they get to go out and get some subsidy through New York State. So they are in regular communication with New York State about the project. I am in regular communication with New York State about the project and with the developer on it, and they continue to work diligently.
You know what I'm concerned about? Because we're so close by Syracuse University. Mm-hmm. I don't want that to turn in where it's going to turn into student housing. You know, I mean, you're going to have mixed use, and students say, well, I'm going to lease, you know, because you're so close by the university.
I would say, Counselor, what we've seen from Syracuse University is they're currently working on building 2 new dorms right now.
Right.
Is that the university has worked very intentionally in their development to keep their students on campus.
Okay.
And so while that's, for those of us that are not with the university, that's always something that pops up as a thought. When you look at how the university has behaved from a development standpoint, that doesn't align with what they've been doing.
I know, because we're right by the hospitals too.
Yeah.
But there's another thing that bothers me, is that we have made proposals in the past, and for some reason, we don't get the funding and we drop it. It was like with Almond Street, you know, where that old gas station. I haven't heard anything more. Did we drop that proposal? I haven't heard anything more about the Onondaga Hotel. So I'm just like to know, when we're doing a proposal, I know there's going to be bumps in the road, and I don't want to see this just fall through the cracks. You know what I'm saying? I'm very concerned that we get these projects through.
And to that end, Eric and his team are in constant communication with the development teams on this. When it's housing related, Deputy Commissioner Sapansky's team, myself, on all of them, because it's a very iterative process. There's a lot of endurance, all the way around, and you know, it's tough for the public to look at it and say, well, look, you talked about this a while ago, and I don't see anything happening. And that is one of the challenges when we're a city like ours that is growing out of an incredibly suppressed property value situation. And we still, on the housing side, our rents are still in the bottom third of the average for the nation. So we've had tremendous growth from a percentage perspective, but our property values still don't look like what the national average is. And that makes it hard to borrow more money against the project. And so you need a more sophisticated developer. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Commissioner, both of you commissioners, are any other questions for me?
I have a question, but it's not about anything in the book. Question for you, Mr. Collins. The old washing machine factory, they took down everything except for that wall. Is that wall holding the street?
That's a great question. I will check with our codes department on exactly why it's that way, and I will get back to you.
Look like it's the barrier that holds that street.
It may be providing some type of retaining, just because one of the things that you have to pay attention to when you're bringing the building down is what does that mean for runoff? And obviously, we don't want to fill our storm sewers with anything that it shouldn't be going down there, anything other than just rainwater. So that does come into consideration. Don't know if that's the case here, but I'll look into it and find out today. Sure.
You know, I appreciate all your efforts. Over the weekend, I was in Detroit, the National Land Bank Summit. We did a tour of a lot of what had been challenged neighborhoods, and they had actively, housing had been started in all those neighborhoods. Downtown Detroit has really come back, and I look forward to that happening here in Syracuse.
Did you make it to a Mets-Tigers game?
Not Mets-Tigers. We did see Tigers-White Sox, so I went a day early to see them, so that's right, because you have to have your priorities straight.
Yes, you do.
As you well know, Council Commissioner. So with that being said, no other questions, I'll ask this meeting to be adjourned.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody.
I think you missed the Mets by a day.
I know. Well, the Tigers clobbered the Yankees last night.
So did you love the ballpark?
Huh?
You love the ballpark?
Yeah,
Never in my no, that's on my bucket. You know I love my Rust Belt cities. So it's on my bucket list.
you would have seen how much the buildings downtown. Beautiful buildings. We've done all the buildings. A lot of small. I mean, they still report
Yes.
professional.
All place carbon.